So if you're watching this, that means that you ordered Forever Pizza or you received one and someone sent this to you. But mainly you've been interacting with me, Steph. I'm literally sitting in my studio surrounded by about 100 Forever Pizzas, 120. And it's the first time that I've had this many pieces with this many orders. And it's a strange feeling, frankly. And I just wanted to take a second to kind of capture this moment, partially for me, but also for you, because in so many ways I would not be here without you. I started Forever Pizza almost 7 years ago. It was late 2011. I was submitting to an art show called Threat, and the premise was it's 3 a.m, someone's breaking into your house. What do you grab to defend yourself? And having grown up in a pizzeria and then gone to art school, I said I would take last night's slice and throw it like a ninja star. And since you can't submit a slice of pizza to an art show, I decided to encase it in resin. And this is what resulted. So from here, fast forward almost 6 years, a few different versions. This was one along the way as well. We're now at this. And there's a few things I just want to sort of say about this work and kind of, inform you as a supporter and now owner of a Forever Slice before just like making something and putting it out in the world with no sense of purpose. There is purpose behind this work, and I think if you've bought it, you kind of get it, but in case you don't, here you go. So I'm not, this is not as simple as taking a slice of pizza and putting it in acrylic. It's been years of testing a formula and trying to get pizza to look a certain way and testing the durability of the acrylic over time. And, it took the last 2 years have really been a bit of research towards trying to figure out, is this it? Like, does this represent the idea, and is it sensitive to all of the parts that I think are most important? And for a long time I thought that this had to look edible, it had to look like the idea of pizza in your head, but the reality is it can't. It's real pizza, and it is preserved forever. And I literally carried one of these around with me for 2 years and showed people. And that was not a planned thing. This was actually a material test to see if the pizza how it would react to this acrylic. And that's why it was small initially. But when I carried this for 2 years to sort of monitor how it stayed and gauge people's reactions, they overwhelmingly and repeatedly said, I want this. And so, it just so happens that this sample is about the width of your phone. And so that meant it fit in my pocket. And so this was pocket pizza for the longest time. People have asked, why did I move away from these like triangular slices towards these smaller cubes? And there's a few reasons. The biggest one being production and also streamline. So this is just way easier to produce than this. There's more material here, more pizza, obviously. Also, like, this stands up one way. Put it on your side, although I wouldn't imagine you do that. This you can do whatever way you want. And like from a artistic perspective, I actually think this is more elegant. It floats better. I also think the scale of this focuses your attention, externally to this object, and there's this sort of mirrored experience internally where it forces you to kind of pay more attention to your emotions and the feelings and the thoughts that come up as a result of seeing this. But most importantly, the reason I went with this over something like this, and this isn't gone forever, but for now, is because this is what you share and could possibly take out into the world. This will fit in your pocket. This is heavy, but it's not so heavy that you won't put it in your bag. You can leave it on your desk and it functions the same way a bigger piece does, But the power of this project has been in its connective element. Everybody loves pizza. Now you can have it forever, which means that this stands in for every pizza experience you've ever had. This becomes a souvenir for every pizza experience you've ever had or will have. And I'm very curious to see what will happen if you do share this, if you do take this out, if you do go to a bar and put this out. I'd be willing to bet somebody will start talking to you. And they might start talking to you about pizza because now you have it forever. But once you get into conversation, you might end up talking about your grandparents or where you grew up, or like, oh, that's that pizza? I know someone who has that, blah, 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 blah. You'll start with pizza, but you won't end there. And that's kind of the magic. And that's what I've realized, especially in the last 2 years, carrying this particular size with me. And like, granted, yeah, it's my work, and so carrying my work is different than you carrying it, but this is sort of the experiment. Like, is it different? And if it is, how? And is that necessarily bad? I don't actually think it is. You bought this, you support me, you support this project because you love pizza, so you already have a connection, and how you got there is inevitably different than me, but that's great. Like, that's actually kind of the point. I'm more interested in finding ways to discuss connection than to discuss difference. And pizza is one of those foods that it's sort of able to be individualized and like you can make it your own, you choose your topping, you have your place, you like a corner slice, you prefer a Neapolitan style, right? There's preference, but it's all within this bigger idea of pizza. And I think that's really interesting and also has a parallel to people. I think we are more alike than we are different. And with pizza, there's this beautiful analogy for people where, you can't acknowledge, you can't have a slice without acknowledging the whole pie. We are all connected, and we are more alike than we are different. We live on the same planet, we eat the same food, we breathe the same air, we drink the same water, we have the same emotions. How we talk about them is often where things get mixed up and lost. And so when you have an object to stand in as a prism, in this case literally, to refract your connection and come at it and present different angles, it's kind of interesting how we start to talk to each other. So you might be a pizza fanatic, and that's enough. You might be, this might be a gift for someone who's a pizza fanatic, and that this becomes now a symbol of your relationship. And truthfully, that is more interesting and more important than the object, whatever the object is you buy for someone. This is simply symbolic of that relationship and of that level of love. So I just wanted to take a second to sort of talk to that, and I am terrible at video editing, so if anyone has any suggestions on how to make this stuff better, I'm all about it. But, I've literally spent today just sort of expressing and trying to capture some of my thoughts around this project because I've never had this many pieces in one place, and there's something kind of powerful about that, but also I've never had such committed support. When you buy something, you are you're speaking with your purchase. So I wanted to say thank you directly as I can, given that we're not in a room together. And if this is interesting to you and you want to talk more, I'm reachable, but send me an email. Also, I'd love to know why you bought this. Like, there's so many interesting stories that I've heard. Frank, Molly, Paul, Billy, you guys, girls, people, trying to be universal here. Incredible stories. And thank you for sharing. If you haven't shared your story and you want to, I'm all ears. I'm going to continue sharing mine. I'm going to continue working on this piece. There's more to come, and I hope you've had a good time so far, and stay hungry.